me talking to it real quick? Okay, it's good.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check. Check, check. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Five Boys in the Business podcast. Welcome back to the Five Boys in the Business podcast, where we talk about everything family, business related, anything like that. Today we're on episode 84,
Wow.
and you might notice a bunch of new things. One, I have a buzz cut. This is brand new, coming to you all. So I decided last Thursday that I didn't want my hair anymore. I didn't want my long hair. It got a little too long when I went to go get my hair cut last time. She cut a little too long on top. She left it a little too long on top. So last Thursday I woke up and I said, I'm tired of dealing with this. So if you can see, she did a pretty good job with the fade. So
It does.
looks pretty good.
Nice.
You also might notice I have Kirsten with me. Probably don't know who Kirsten is. Kirsten is going to be my future sister-in-law. She is my fiance's sister. I've known her for a very long time. She's wonderful, and she's going to be on the podcast today. The reason why it's just me and Kirsten is because everybody's gone. I have tried to figure out so my mother and father are not here because they're coming back from Tennessee after a wonderful Father's Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Father's Day was yesterday. Today is a work day, Kirsten. Okay. So they're not here. I contacted Holden, who is my brother.
Who is here? Yeah.
He is here in Hamilton County at my parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? He said, what time? I said 10:30. He said, well, I have a Purdue meeting from 9 to 9:45.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, why don't you come over after that? He said, well, I have a meeting with another lady to have Pip, one of his sugar gliders, adopted. So I said, okay, well, let's do in between. He said, well, I'm feeling kind of sick. I was like, great.
So no,
I was like, yeah,
just
great.
A no.
It was just a no. So we're not doing the podcast with Holden. So Kirsten,
I'm here.
that's why she's here.
I'm here.
She's visiting because she just wants to visit. She's just here.
I do.
She came because she just wanted to have a week with us and have some fun. So, for Father's Day, you and Madeline were gone. You guys went up to St. Louis.
We were. Madeline and I are from St. Louis, as I'm sure you know with Madeline.
Mm-hmm.
And so our whole family's down there. We went over to my Uncle Tim and Aunt Erin's house. We have a garden that's dedicated to our grandfather who passed away last August. And so my Uncle Jonathan, he made this beautiful mahogany bench to put in this garden. And so it was kind of like the unveiling of this bench since it was, the first Father's Day without him. So it was beautiful and we had a really good time. It was really hot outside.
It was very
really
hot.
Just disgusting.
It was disgusting.
But it was a
Yeah.
good day. It was fun.
And Madeline also ended up picking up the cake samplings or the dessert samplings for our wedding.
Did.
We had them last night at 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Not probably the best choice.
No, well, you also ate like.
I ate a decent amount.
All
I
of
think the flavors were straight up chocolate, right? Chocolate on
chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was Chubby Hubby, which was
Chocolate and peanut butter.
chocolate, peanut butter,
And pretzels.
Caramel was not in there, right?
No,
Then
it was the pretzels.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had lemon blueberry,
hmm
cinnamon.
Yeah, like a cinnamon
Cinnamon
swirl
swirl.
situation.
What other ones? Was that it?
The red velvet.
The red velvet.
Were there 5?
Disappointment.
Disappointment.
I think there was only 5.
I think there was
right?
5. And then there was the cream pie.
Yeah, the cream pie. Yeah, the oatmeal cream pie,
Yes.
which was amazing. Also great. And then she brought home macaroons as well.
Which are called macarons. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, there's only one O. My mother informed this to me.
So wait. So does everybody call them macaroons?
Yeah,
but they're
that's
called...
what I've known them as.
Oh.
But she's like, "Did you know it was macarons?" And I said, "I think you're."
Well, that's
lying."
interesting because they're spelled like macarons, right?
Yeah.
Like there's
No, I thought there was 2 O's. Is there 1 O or 2 O?
Let's look to Google.
Because if there's 1 O, why have we always called it macaroons?
Well, I don't know. Macaroon. There is 1 O.
There's 1 O.
Can confirm. So yeah, we're
Then
just
what
stupid.
have we been doing?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, though, Father's Day weekend, they were gone.
Yes.
In St. Louis. I had the house to myself all weekend.
What'd you do?
It was lovely. I
Yeah.
played an unhealthy amount of video games.
Oh.
and it was lovely. I beat one of my games in a trilogy, and I started the third one in the trilogy. I put probably, I don't know. I played, let's see. On Friday I played probably until 3 a.m. On Saturday I played probably another 8 to 9 hours, and then on Sunday I played probably like 6 to 7 hours.
I don't know how you do that. It's
just you get lost.
It's like a book, like when you read a good book.
Kind of.
But just a screen.
Yeah, if you read books, yeah.
I read books.
I don't.
Okay.
That's fine. So as I was going through the topics today for this podcast, and it's actually funny because we were talking about this while driving up here. We were talking about influencers, specifically David Dobrik, Crystalia. I don't know if I call Crystalia an influencer, but in the past few months, I have been on the equivalent of TikTok called Instagram Reels. I don't have a TikTok. I only look at Reels, and I found myself looking at them more and more as the past few months have gone on. I've noticed a few things, and these things make me a little angry. Okay, so settle in.
I'm ready.
So when I'm looking through Reels, I only look through Reels to see funny stuff, right? And I feel like most people go through TikTok as well to see funny stuff, right? Because there's some very good original content. Back in the day, Vine was notorious for good original content.
Oh yeah.
And TikTok is basically the same way. Reels is also the same way. But when I'm looking through Reels, there are so many thirst traps. It is a joke. It honestly makes me angry because I understand, like, if you want to celebrate your body and whatnot and like all that stuff, right? But it is becoming excessive to the point where it just takes over the platform and it just becomes annoying. It's just, I can't.
Well, I think it also becomes like inappropriate. Like,
oh yeah,
when I think about my younger brother having a TikTok and the things that I've seen on TikTok, I'm like, I don't want you watching that.
Yeah,
that's just, I don't know. Nor would I. Again, you're right. Celebrate body positivity, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable in your skin, I think that's great.
Yeah.
But there are things that, like, when I was their age, because they're all teens, right?
Yeah.
They're all teens.
They all look way better than I did.
That's true. So true. They didn't go through an awkward phase, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But I would have never posted that online because I was just not.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't confident.
And the thing that makes me even more mad is that they're making money off of this.
Yeah.
And people are going to say, well, Harrison, you're just jealous because they're making more money than you. I am jealous they're making more money than me because all they're doing is looking at a camera, looking good, and singing to a song. That also is another thing that gets me is that these thirst traps, all of them. And hold on, let's go back. Let's go back a bit.
Okay.
For anybody watching that doesn't know what a thirst trap is, because I highly doubt that many of our audience knows what a thirst trap is. A thirst trap is essentially someone, almost always a lady or a woman, trying their hardest to look sexy, but like, help me out here. I don't like.
No,
like,
you're right.
Is that right?
Like they're feeling themselves, so
Yeah.
they post a video to kind of show off.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to show off.
But like they know they look good. Like that's also a thing. Is like they're very, very confident. Like they know, and it's mainly with women. There are some guys out there that do it.
I think the ones I see are all men.
Okay. Well, that would
so
actually
it's
make
probably
sense.
50-50.
Yeah.
But yes.
The men are just as bad too. They are. Oh, I can't say it on here, but they are just bad.
Cringeworthy.
They are cringeworthy. They are. Yeah. I forget where I was going with, or before I went back.
Thirst traps.
Yeah. Just describe thirst traps.
You know, I will say though, I have a TikTok.
Yes.
I have a TikTok, and I downloaded TikTok, like the beginning of my sophomore year of college, because that's when it was like a huge thing, and I spent hours on this app, hours just scrolling through. It's not good. It's so not good. And so I went through this phase where I would delete it, and then I would re-download it, and then I would delete it and re-download it because I felt guilty for taking so much of my time.
Right.
as a college student on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
But I still have it, and it is what it is. But I will say, I think TikTok, you have to sift through a lot. Thirst traps.
You do.
I see a lot of like cooking, like recipes, which I love.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of different things on this app. You have to sift through quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I think I find funnier videos on TikTok than I do on Instagram Reels.
I would imagine.
I think Instagram Reels is like a third of what TikTok is.
Yeah, with it being like a knockoff of TikTok.
Yeah.
It's just a copy. I would imagine that it's not as good as TikTok. And honestly, I'd bet the targeting is not as good as TikTok either.
Yeah.
But I keep getting all these thirst traps. Do you know what's her name?
Addison Rae?
No, not Addison Rae. Well, okay, there are a few people that I see on Instagram Reels.
Okay.
I don't see Addison Rae a whole lot.
Okay.
But the D'Amelios, I see them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I see Bryce Hall a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I see Taylor. Is that his name? Taylor. It's one of Bryce's friends. I don't know. I see Emma Brooks. Is that her name? She is everywhere on Instagram. You don't know who that is?
No.
But regardless, I am jealous of them making more money than me because they can get in front of a phone and record themselves for 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And
isn't it crazy that they have the opportunity to do that in this day and age?
I know.
Like,
and I don't like, I hate the thirst traps. I do applaud them though, because to a certain degree, because it takes a lot of effort to get in front of a camera and do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you're going to get made fun of regardless if you do something like that. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting.
It is.
But I spend also way too much time on Instagram Reels. And it's bad.
It's bad. And I don't know how to fix it because I delete it. And guess what I do?
Because you do find some, you find some gems on those, on TikTok and Instagram. Like there's some funny stuff on Instagram.
Oh
Reels.
yeah.
Like that's what keeps you there though.
Yeah.
Is that you sift through all these thirst traps and like all this dumb stuff and you're like, oh my God, like this is ridiculous. But then you find that one video where you're like, wow, this is really funny.
And then you got to keep going to find the next one. Yeah.
Because that's what.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when Vine was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I vividly remember sifting through stuff like the thirst traps and dumb stuff like that forever. I wonder if I wrote down something else other than the fitness stuff. I see a crap ton of fitness stuff, and it makes me so angry because it's all staged.
What is it, like workouts or like?
No, it's just these guys like lifting weights, and the caption's like, "Oh, I was doing this, and then I took off my shirt, and this girl did something," and it's obviously staged. Like it's like what? And basically, what he does or what they do is what the videos I've seen are them, lifting weights, doing curls. And they'll be doing it in the mirror and they'll like look at this girl who's like obviously acting and like stage and she's like whispering to this guy and then he'll take off his shirt and then start lifting him again and then the girl will, like come over and walk up to him and then the guy she was talking to will get mad and walk away. It's dumb stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, like it's just Chris D'Elia has this great thing that he goes on about, okay? Where he says he makes so much fun of these fitness people because he's like, who are you inspiring? Like, what do you, like who are you? Like, what is this? I don't know. He explains it way better, but, sifting through the reels and whatnot, you find that good one and then you keep going and it's just it's a cycle. It's just bad. But yeah, because you see the fitness ones, you see the thirst traps, and then they're like, I would say maybe 30% is funny stuff.
Oh, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Let me see what else I wrote down here. Oh, we were talking, or I don't know if we were talking about this, but did you see that Logic came out of retirement?
No way.
Yeah.
To do music again?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. And honestly, I was talking to my brother Holden about this.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Logic, and anybody listening who doesn't know who Logic is a rapper, hip hop artist, really good at his craft. He's really, really good. And he's very, I'm very much so into, there's this, a portion of rap called mumble rap, which is just god awful. It's just bad. It's really, it's just terrible. but then there's the other there's multiple facets, but another one is the being so lyrically minded with rap. Like it's just so good. Like just the lyrics are so are done so well, and they're rapped so well. Like then that's what Logic is great at. And he ended up retiring. God, it was like 6 months ago. Like,
oh, I thought it was longer ago.
No, it was not long. It was not that long ago. It was like 6 to 8 months ago. And he released his last album called No Pressure, which is a play on his first album called Under Pressure. And he retired because he had a kid, and like he has his wife now, and he wants to take care of them, and they're living in Montana, and he's kind of just like living the life, right?
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
And it makes sense.
I get it.
I honestly applaud him for it because he does, take care of your family. Go.
You worked hard.
Yeah, you worked hard. You find other business stuff to invest in or create something else. Whatever. And I really thought he was going to be gone. And I'm not a big fan of him coming back.
Really?
Yeah. And I was talking to Holden about this, and I was saying how it just looks so corny. People describe him as corny just through his like music and like how he lives his life and whatnot. But like I do think that him coming out of retirement is kind of corny.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you will listen to the album.
I'll listen. I'll listen to whatever he puts out.
Okay.
I always will. And he put out actually an intro song when he announced his retirement. He was like, "Okay, I'm putting this. Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm putting out this intro song. Give it a listen." And I listened to it. It was pretty good.
It was good.
It was okay. It was okay.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't anything like, whoa, like this is so good. But like it was okay.
Was it like a different sound than what he's had? Okay.
It was literally just Logic.
Because I could see him like,
I know, like getting on the piano or like singing.
Yeah,
or
like having
like
this
that.
different sound, having this different vibe.
I don't.
After coming back.
And that's what I was worried about. I was like, oh God. I was like,
Yeah.
please don't come back and come back and like try and like, I don't know, do the piano or something. I was like, please don't do that. I was like, it's not going to go well.
Didn't he write a book?
He did. He wrote a book called Supermarket. It was pretty good.
It was good.
I really, really liked it.
Was this after he retired from music?
This was before he retired.
Okay.
He came out with a Supermarket album, or it was like a soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Not that good.
Mm.
He's also coming out with a memoir on September 7th that I have pre-ordered.
Wow.
So he's got a lot going on. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about his retirement.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, because it kind of, at first I was like, oh, you're taking like, and not to say that he's not doing it anymore or he's not doing it now, but he was taking his family so seriously and like wanting to take care of his friends and just live the life. But now I don't.
Is he bored?
I'd be curious to know his reasoning, and I'm sure something will come out, like a video or something will come out, but I'd be curious to know why, and I'm sure it's going to be the same thing that everybody says. I miss my craft. I'm so good at it that I need, I it's like my calling. So,
well, he's so young.
Yeah.
But I remember when he was
too.
retiring, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like you have so much in you. And I know you have so much potential to, make another album, continue doing this. You clearly love it so much. So I feel like that was a hard decision to like walk away from and not do anymore.
And that's the thing, is that I've never liked when people come out of retirement, or like when Michael Jordan comes out of retirement, or like when he came out of retirement, played for the Wizards, and it was just not like he didn't play that well. And it kind of tarnishes to a degree like that icon that he was when he played for the Bulls. But I just don't want him to come back, and because he said I remember him saying that when he wrote No Pressure, it was hard. It was hard for him to write No Pressure because he actually had. I don't want to say he actually had to try. I don't know if that's what I do not know if that's what he said, but he said it was hard because he knew that he had to, please the fans or something, and he really had to go back to that mindset of writing down original words and making original rhymes. So I'm curious because I do think No Pressure is one of his best albums and is a great send off to what he was. But now if he comes out with anything else, it's gonna be like,
because if you had this grand ending, how are you supposed to?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
interesting. I did not know that.
I know people probably don't care about Logic and whatnot that he's retiring.
I care. It's okay.
Another thing that I wrote down, which I've been thinking about a little bit recently, was that I don't like to celebrate my birthday the older I get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's just because I don't like, I mean, I don't know if anybody likes it, but just the fact of getting older. And I know I'm only 24,
Yeah.
but, you know, I was hearing one of the girls today talk, and she said that one of her partner turned 30, and like he didn't want to like really celebrate or talk about it. And I was like, yeah, I can kind of, I mean, I kind of agree to, you know, to an extent. I don't know.
Do you think that birthdays have lost the magic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because I feel that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think we have very good people who make our birthdays fun and special and exciting. We're very blessed with that. But I get that. That, you know, the older you get, it's like, well, you know, another year.
I know.
Another year doing stuff.
It's one of those things where if I feel like if I think about it too much, like I'll start to freak out, like getting older.
Really?
Yeah. Is that weird?
I mean, I feel like it's normal, but also,
well, I think
you got so much going on and you got so much ahead of you that it should be exciting. Right?
Oh yeah, no, it's exciting too. But I think that I feel like if you get to a certain point, like say you're 40 years old, right, and you're not, and you think back on your life and you think, what have I done? Like I haven't done anything that I've wanted to do. I haven't accomplished. I just don't want to get to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get that.
It's a very weird way of thinking, but
yeah, it's weird. I think, and my dad always said when we were younger, the older you get, the faster time goes by. And I think I'm, you know, 21, so like I haven't had too much of life lived, but
we probably sound ridiculous talking about this.
We do, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think college has taught me a lot, and like the past 3 years have gone by so fast, so fast. And I think life just kind of takes you on this ride in your early 20s, and there's not really too many stopping points. You just keep going,
right?
No matter what you're doing,
right?
So I think that birthdays, I could see that, because I think birthdays are just like another milestone of like, okay, yeah, cool, but I still got to keep going. I got things to do. I got things to accomplish, and
it's interesting that those are that. I wonder what it feels like to not have any milestones. You know what I mean? Like say my parents, right? They'll end up eventually retiring,
right,
in the near future. Okay. And I don't know what they're gonna do. Like you know what I mean? Like I talked to my dad the other day. I said, what are you gonna do when you don't have to do? You won't have to worry about you don't have to worry about a business. You won't have to worry about like. You basically won't have a whole lot to worry about, and you don't have a whole lot to
have responsibilities.
Yeah,
too many.
Yeah, I told him, I said, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "I don't know. I'll figure out something."
Maybe that's the beauty in it. You don't know.
True. I mean, exactly. I mean, after all the work that you do with a clinic like this, I mean, you definitely deserve.
Oh, absolutely.
No responsibilities.
Could you do that though? Like, are you the kind of person who could just like sit on a beach when you retire and not do anything? You are? See, I'm not.
Well, here's the thing.
That doesn't sound fun.
Is that if I had, I would not sit on a beach. I mean, I would have a gaming room, but
of course,
I would have. I don't know. I think I would have investments and enough going on in the background that I don't have to worry a whole lot about, but I can still keep my mind or keep working on in a very loose manner that I'd be fine. But I don't know. Who knows? We have 30 years left. 40. Maybe.
40?
We'll see. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you think about it like that, I read a couple tweets the other day that were like, can I retire already? I was like...
Word.
I was like, we got a long way to go, dude.
Yeah.
And speaking of birthdays and our parents, I also think it's weird how much we look like our parents.
You think... Okay.
Not you. Not well. I think you do to a certain degree.
I think I don't. It's okay.
Maybe Madeline definitely does.
Oh, for sure. Who do you think she looks like?
She looks like your mom.
Like my mom.
But I think it's a good blend of your mom and your dad. But after I got my buzz cut, everybody was like, "Oh my god, like you look like your dad." I was like,
"Yeah." Well, I think you have. I don't know. It's weird because I really can't tell who you look like. Because I think your eyes and your nose look like your mom, but everything else looks like your dad.
Yeah.
But when you took your glasses off, yesterday, and that was the first time I saw you with the buzz
Yeah.
cut. I think you look like all of your brothers
Yeah.
in one person. And it was very strange. I saw every one of them when you took your glasses off.
Yeah. That's
I
interesting.
think I'm a good 50-50. I don't think I look like my mom, and I don't think I look like my dad, but I think I have features like I resemble them. I hope. But I don't know. I was the first kid with red hair, and so they
think you
came
do.
out and they were like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah. I know.
And then Matthew was born,
Yeah.
my brother, younger brother, and he has the red hair and the
Oh.
freckles. But I think he looks like Madeline. I don't think he looks like me. He looks like my dad. He looks identical
he
to my
does
dad.
look like Madeline more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got like her face shape, and
Uh-huh.
they got the perfect nose that I didn't get, which is
You have a
so
perfect
annoying.
nose. Yes, you do. What do you mean?
No, it's like the pointed and it goes down and it's skinny. It's
Ah.
just like my mom's.
Gotcha.
And I got a blend, as you do as
the
a
blend
second
is
kid.
the best though.
You know,
I got a
I'm
blend.
starting to think that. I am.
Yeah.
I also think on the topic of growing up and with parents, I was talking about this to my mom the other day. And I think the older I get, and I was just a TA, teacher's assistant for the past year, and that taught me a lot about a whole lot of things, but a lot about kids and about, I'm not a parent, so I still don't know a lot of things, but
Right.
I was talking to my mom about how hard it is to be a parent.
Oh,
How
yeah.
difficult that seems, because I would go to this school for a day and be exhausted, and they're not even my kids.
Oh, yeah.
And then to come home and then have to take the kids to soccer practice or basketball practice and make
Yep.
dinner and make sure everyone's good and accounted for.
Yep.
And also they have attention and love.
Right.
And that seems like the hardest job in the world. And it has given me so much appreciation for
I mean, you don't
my
have kids anymore.
parents. Well, this job I think has definitely pushed back. I was like, I'm gonna have a kid by the time I'm like 27, and now I'm like, no, I'm not.
And honestly, that's
I
funny
am
because
not.
it's same for me too. It's
Really?
Yeah. I have been a very big advocate for wanting to have a child soon,
Yes.
and I've always been that way. But it's funny you bring that up because I have actually been very like, I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
Because
Which is
I
good.
mean I with a few of the guys that I play basketball with, they're older guys, and they're like, yeah, dude, I gotta wake up at like 6 a.m. and like, it's that's like, it's a little early. I'm like, a little early?
That's a lot early, my
That's
friend.
very early. And it's because they're kids and whatnot, and so I have been, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a big job.
Yeah.
Seems like the hardest job.
And it's another thing that worries me too is that I like to have, this might sound selfish, but I like to have time to myself
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And when you have a kid, obviously that time goes away
Mhm.
pretty instantly.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. It's something to think about, especially when you need that time for yourself and it's just gone. So I don't
think that's selfish. I think
Yeah.
you're still figuring a lot of stuff out and figuring out what you want and what your
Yeah.
goals are and what your
Yeah.
ambitions are. And I think for me, I've always been very much a homebody. I was
Yeah.
as a kid, and I had no interest in traveling, or I mean, we would go on vacations to Florida and Colorado and whatnot, but I had no interest of going overseas or anything. And I think, again, in college, I had this like epiphany of like, oh no, I have so much I want to do, so much I want to see, so many people I want to meet. And I think your 20s are a good time to do that. I think you can do that whenever. I mean, when you retire, even with kids.
I mean, honestly though, 20, your time is probably the best time to do it.
Yeah. But
So-
that's why all that is like pushed back, where I had this plan of like, I'm getting married by this age, and then I'm
Right.
having a kid by this age, and I'm going to be financially stable by this age. And
right.
the older I get, the more I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I have so many things I want to do before I have those big milestones, those
Yeah.
are commitments, you
Right.
know, which I hope
I did
to be,
I
but-
did see something the other day that said that having a child at a younger age makes it better when you're older, because what was it? I mean, it makes sense, because if you have a child at a younger age, they're older, or you're younger when they're older.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like you could be like 45, but they're like what, 15? No, that doesn't make sense.
In college,
Or
out of college, have a
yeah,
job.
whatever,
Yeah. They hit those milestones.
Which I also think about. So I don't know. I think it's one of the, me and Madeline were talking about this too the other day, though, that it's one of those things that I don't know if you'll ever be sure of.
Mm-mm.
I think that having a kid is a huge step, and there are those people that are like, yeah, let's do it now. We're ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's always going to be that thought in the back of your mind, like, well, are we ready? Like, I don't know, like, you know. And so I feel like you just have to jump into it.
Well, I think there's also that social stigma, especially now that you and Madeline, you know, your wedding's coming up and you're going to be married, and that's a huge step. But I think when you get married, at least a lot of my friends I know who are married, people are like, okay, you're married, congratulations, when you're having kids.
Yeah.
And you know, I think because there's this social stigma of like, okay, you get married and then you have a kid and then you do this and then the A, B, C, D, E, and there's like this weird timeline to life that everybody thinks you have to follow. And so, but I think it's okay to, you know, get married or well, it is okay to get married, but to get married and then have things you want to do before you have a kid, or have things you want to do as a couple.
Right.
I mean, or C or B before you.
I think a lot of it comes down to just security in terms of financials, in terms of your health. I mean, I am not having a kid until I have health insurance, because I am not taking those bills. So it's stuff like that where you have to have at least I would think that a good chunk of people, you know, have a plan before having a kid.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. But going back to just jumping into it, I remember and I'm going to compare children with puppies for a sec. Okay.
Seems appropriate.
And they're not, and I know that children are much harder to take care of than a puppy.
Okay.
But they're somewhat similar. When I got Moose, I wasn't really sure of getting a puppy. You know what I mean? I knew I wanted a dog, and I knew I wanted a dachshund, but I didn't know if I was going to be capable of, I don't know if capable is the right word. I knew the responsibilities that were going to be in place. I just wasn't sure if I was going to do them well. That's the better way to put that.
Okay.
I didn't know if I was going to be a good dog dad. That sounds ridiculous. But,
no, I get it. I'm here.
But I feel like in a weird sort of way, I just kind of jumped into it and ended up working out, and he's great. I feel like to a certain degree, you don't really know what you're getting into until you're there with a child. You know. So
do you think that has prepared you for fatherhood?
I think a lot of things have prepared me for fatherhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Just taking care of my brothers, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it might be. I don't know if that's a big reason as to why I like having time to myself, but I watched my brothers a lot growing up.
Yeah.
And that might sound ridiculous, but
no.
I don't know if that has any link, but like I would come home from school and have to watch one of them, or I would come home from track practice while doing homework. I'd have to watch them. So it's, I don't know.
I think there's a lot of responsibility that falls on the oldest, just the way that life goes.
Right.
I think that was like that for Madeline. I think it was like that for my mom. Yeah. She's the oldest.
And and that's why I know that I'm prepared, I feel like more than most, to have a child. Like I could probably have one right now and be like, I'm fine. You know what I mean?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I do know.
But I forget where I was going with it.
I'm going to go back for a second. Did you like being the oldest, or do you like being the oldest, or do you wish that your birth order would have been different?
No, I'm glad I'm the oldest.
You are?
Yeah. Because you have that authority, you know?
Yeah, you do.
It's so funny because I remember growing up, and I noticed it as I got older, but none of them respected each other like they respected me. And it was very weird. I don't know why. And that could be the case in most families. It might not be. I have no idea. But I remember Holden would try and correct Trevor, or he would try and correct John, and they wouldn't even do anything. Like they wouldn't even, they'd be like, whatever. Right. You know, back in the day. And I would come up to them and be like, John, do this now. And he'd be like, okay. It's funny how that works out, because I don't know why. I feel like to a certain degree now it's still kind of that way. But another thing I was thinking about and talking with Madeline about again was the fine line of being a parent and being a friend to your child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought that was very weird. Like having that first conversation with your child, like where they did something wrong, but not when they're young, but like when they're old, say like they're 12.
Yeah.
And you have that first conversation where you're like, this is wrong, you can't do this, but they're like, in that rebellion stage or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I that's so weird to me, like trying to have that conversation with your child, but trying to be the parent, but also console them as a friend. I don't know. It's very weird.
It does. It seems very hard to find that balance. And I think it seems difficult as a non-parent right now to build that trust and that mutual respect, like you said, but also having that authority. Yeah. Where it sounds kind of silly. Like, well, you're the parent. Like, of course it's going to go that way, but I don't think it always goes that way. And I don't know what goes wrong or what is done in the situations where you do have that relationship versus when you don't. Yeah. Like, what is it that changes or flips or...
I already know I'm going to be a funny parent. Like, I'm going to be the wacky dad.
You think you're going to be the fun parent or the strict parent?
I don't know. We've talked about this, but I'll probably end up being a mix of both. I think she'll probably end up being much more strict than I am. Only because, like I said, I'm going to be the wacky dad. Like, I'm going to be like the classic dad that you see in movies. That's like
Hawaiian shirt and khaki shorts and
like,
flip-flops. Yeah.
That's going to be
you
me.
are going to be that.
And so that's why I think about having those conversations, because I am going to be that kind of dad. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I think Madeline, I think she could be a mix of both too. But I think, like, going back to the older sibling thing, she always just scared the heck out of me and Matthew. Like, that's how we would do it, because she was like,
I would do it too. Yeah, that's kind of
like
good.
There was no question. And she's best sister in the whole world. So sweet. We've always been so very close. And even with Matthew's 8 years younger than me, 11 years younger than her. So there's that age gap, but I still think we all are just,
because you do have to, I think, as an older kid, and I could be wrong in this, and I'm interested to hear your perspective, but you kind of have to take, because every single parent, I don't care who you are, but I feel like most parents delegate some of their responsibility onto that first born child. And so that firstborn child has that responsibility of delegating some of their, they have the responsibility of being a very, very, very watered down parent to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And so that is funny that you bring that up, because I do remember being very harsh.
Well, I think you kind of have to be, especially because of that. And you have that responsibility. And like when my parents would have to work late or take Matthew to hockey practice or whatever, or, what was going on, it was, okay, Madeline, you get the chicken out of the freezer and you defrost it. Or Madeline, you make sure you're home so that you can watch Kirsten and Matthew while we go off and do whatever.
And then since they're the firstborn, they always, it might be different with your case, but the way I was treated growing up was completely different than the way that Calvin has been treated growing up.
Well, I even see that as a middle kid.
Yeah. Holden does too, as a middle kid.
Yeah. I'm kind of, I don't know. I think that I see both, like I reap the benefits of both sides, where like because I'm an older sibling, but I'm also a younger sibling. But Matthew gets away with so much stuff. Sorry, mom and dad.
It's
as he should. He's the youngest, whatever. But they're like, he doesn't have to do one.
Calvin's living his best life out here. He's going to Tennessee every other weekend. Wow. Doesn't have school. I mean, it's almost summer, or it is summer, but he's getting homeschooled.
Yep.
Having a fun time fishing. Jeez, you know what? I would have killed for that.
When me and Madeline were kids, we would do chores. So like, empty out the dishwasher, switch the laundry, sweep the floor, whatever. And now Matthew doesn't even know what a mop is. I doubt it. I doubt it.
I used to mow the lawn to make $20, and I would go take that $20 to Blockbuster to rent a game and a movie.
Blockbuster.
And I'd buy candy. I would do all that with my $20.
Wow. And you earned
I earned it. Nobody does it anymore. It's crazy.
That is true. I don't know any kids Matthew's age that do chores.
None.
which is sad.
Trevor is probably the one that works the hardest out of all my brothers.
Yeah.
He probably works harder than me, if I'm being honest.
He's a hard worker.
He's a hard worker.
He is.
Yeah. It's funny how it works out that way. Going to another topic.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Madeline are rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm gonna go blow my nose real quick. Talk about that for a sec. Let's talk about the MCU.
Okay, so the MCU. So I got into that maybe a few years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. We didn't watch superhero movies growing up, and Matthew, the younger brother, didn't watch superhero movies growing up. He just wasn't into it. So it was you. Yes, God bless you. So it wasn't like a thing. And so I got into it. The person I was dating at the time was like, okay, we gotta watch the whole thing. But he did it. It wasn't like random order. He did it in like chronological order is how he had us watch them. So we started watching them, and I remember I don't remember what we started with. You could probably tell me what's first. But I've seen like Captain Marvel, which I think is one of the first.
First one's Iron Man.
I thought the first one was Captain America or Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel was
Okay,
was like way down the line.
I'm
like
such an
it's
amateur,
near
I don't know.
Infinity War and Endgame.
I did not like the Incredible Hulk. Did not like
Yeah,
it. And I know
Incredible
it's a
Hulk
different
sucked.
guy. I know it's a different time. I know,
Yeah.
but like not good. I think so. I've seen quite a few. I didn't watch. I was telling you this yesterday. I didn't watch all of the Thor movies. I
Yeah.
only watched the first one because that
Yeah.
was like in the order that we watched them. Then he was like, "You don't need to know the other two."
Right.
And so I was like, "Okay, whatever you say."
It's true. You don't need to know the other two.
So I never really got into Thor. I love Iron Man. My brother actually likes Iron Man. My mom made him watch those.
I remember turning on. What did I turn? I think I turned on. I was like, because I think we were at your house.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, oh, we don't know what movie to watch, and I was scrolling through Disney Plus or something, and I was like, oh yeah, Captain America. We should watch Captain America. And Madeline, she was like, Matthew doesn't like Marvel. Like what?
He doesn't. He didn't. We just didn't grow up with it.
It was
None of
so
the
funny.
figurines.
You guys
None of the
didn't-
T-shirts.
You guys didn't grow up with like the Pixar movie, or was that the Pixar movies?
No, we did.
You did. So you grew
Yeah.
up watching like Sleeping Beauty and
No.
Okay.
Well, those
see.
are Disney princess movies, first of all.
Or maybe they're Disney. I don't
Pixar's
know.
different.
Maybe
But
they're
no,
Disney
Madeline and
movies.
I, we didn't watch princess movies. I mean, we
Like Pocahontas? You
saw
didn't grow up with
no,
that?
we saw Cinderella, and I think we liked that one. We would watch that at the babysitter's house all the time. But when we were little, we liked real people movies, is what we called them. So it was like Mary Poppins
yes.
and Annie, and Mary Poppins and Annie were the best.
Oh, that's funny.
So we liked movies that weren't animated. We just didn't grow up with them, and so that's just, and I think that still kind of reigns true. I like animated movies, but I think I still would gravitate more towards I wouldn't say a real life movie with real people, but I don't know.
I know.
You know what I'm trying to say. And Matthew is the same way.
My dad, and I expect this to be with my child as well. A little piece of me will be a little heartbroken if my child does not enjoy Marvel or Indiana Jones or Back to the Future or Lord of the Rings or any of those, right? I grew up with all of those movies, mind you. My dad, I don't know if I'd call him a certified nerd. Not that certified nerd is like, I don't know if I'd call him like a straight up nerd or like, really anything like that. But he did enjoy Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future, all of those. So I grew up with it. I remember sitting down watching The Empire Strikes Back with him. And I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I sat there and watched it, and it was kind of cool. So that's where I got that influence. And same thing with Marvel. I mean, he had these, I don't know if he was really that into Marvel, but he always had these little things here and there that piqued my interest. Like I think it was on the PlayStation 1. Yeah. He used to have a PlayStation 1, and he had the PS1 Spider-Man game, which was amazing. And I was heartbroken because the disc ended up breaking or got too scratched.
No.
And the machine or the console wouldn't read the disc. But it was stuff like that really got me into the MCU. But me and Madeline are rewatching the MCU right now.
Okay.
We just finished Spider-Man Homecoming. We're in the home stretch right now.
You did that fast.
I know. We're trying to finish it before Black Widow comes out, which is on July 9th.
Okay.
And next up, I think, is Thor Ragnarok, and then Black Panther, and then Infinity War.
Wow.
I it's funny because our rankings, all of them are pretty close, minus the Incredible Hulk. But it blows my mind what Marvel and Kevin Feige, the overall, I think he's the executive producer or like this, I don't know his official title, but he oversees all this stuff.
Okay.
What they've been able to do. I've been watching Spider-Man Homecoming. That movie is a delight. It is so good. I got to the end of that movie, and spoilers for anybody who has not seen Spider-Man Homecoming. It came out many years, like 3-4 years ago, so it's not that big of a deal. But at the very end, have you seen Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yes.
At the very end, Tony Stark he takes him up to the Avengers campus, and he shows this new suit to him, which is sick, right? He wears it in No Way Home, and it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And he's going to introduce him to this people of press and like all this stuff. He ends up not going through with it, thinking it's a test, but it's not. And when I watched that scene, it set up like that relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker. Like it set, like the entire movie was kind of setting it up, but like that really hit it home for me. And then like Happy is there, and then Pepper is there. Like I don't know what it was about because I hadn't seen the movie in a little bit. I think this is my third viewing of it, but I don't know what it was, but it really hit me. I was like, this universe is amazing.
Do you like Spider-Man Homecoming better than Far From Home?
I think that Far From Home is better than Homecoming.
Okay.
Only because, oh man, I don't know.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah. I don't know though. I think I don't, man, they're both pretty dang good. I'd have to rewatch Far From Home. I haven't seen Far From Home, I think, since it released.
Who is your favorite Avenger? I'm going to ask you this question.
My favorite Avenger is Captain America.
Really? There was no hesitation in that. None. Do you think his movies are the best?
I think they're up there. Captain America, his trilogy, I don't think Civil War is as strong because it's more of a like a team up. So all of the heroes come together, and it's not really focused on. I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't.
Right.
The first two are more like Captain America focused.
Yeah.
But the Winter Soldiers, that's one of the best MCU movies.
It's so good.
It is so good. When we watched that movie, once we got to the end, I was like, my God, that movie is so good. And I think as the MCU got older, or as the MCU progressed, I think the movies have become more and more. I think as they progress, they're not just superhero movies anymore.
Yeah.
Right. They still have like there are still some of the like Captain Marvel is a very, very generic like.
I didn't like that one as
movie.
much.
And I didn't either. But you have movies like The Winter Soldier, which I think is so good because it not only has action, it has your typical superhero elements, but there's so many things there's like a political underlying theme, and like it's all that. It's just so good. Oh, I love it.
It is good.
It's fine.
I didn't know if that was a problem. Okay.
But yes. So we are almost finished, and we're trying to get done before Black Widow. I am not looking forward to Endgame because I'm probably gonna cry again.
Oh,
but
you have to cry when you watch Endgame.
I will never. I think I've told
time.
this before on the podcast. Actually, I don't think I have. But Endgame was probably my favorite theater experience I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I wish I could give that experience to everybody. It was just so good. I'll never forget sitting in the theater. Theater is packed.
Yeah.
By the way, it's at AMC, and everyone is just having a good time and screaming the entire, or like not the entire movie, but during pivotal moments. There's a moment with Captain America, which I'm not going to say, but there's a moment with Captain America, and I will never forget. It's towards the end of the movie. I'll never forget. Actually, screw it. Everybody knows what. Everybody's.
It's been a few years. It's okay.
Captain America ends up wielding Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
And I remember turning to the guy and like grabbing his arm.
Yeah.
Being like, "Holy crap! Like it's happening!" And the guy just had the same reaction. Like when he says "Avengers Assemble," everyone in the theater stood up. It was so cool. It was just amazing. And I don't think it's crazy because it's been a decade of work building up to that, like those moments.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think any other cinematic universe can replicate that. ever. And I will be shocked if Marvel can do it again.
Yeah.
So
I saw this interview the other day with Tom Hiddleston, who
Mm.
plays Loki. I knew that.
yeah.
And he was filming, it was either for Infinity War or Endgame, I can't remember, but he went to the theater in London and saw it. Like with his friend, and it wasn't like a big, he wasn't at the premiere because I
Right.
think he said he was filming something else at the time.
Did they know it was him?
So
Did he
he
go
said
and
nobody
uncover?
recognized him
Okay.
when he first walked in because he just, walked up and sat
Right.
down and whatever. And so nobody was really paying attention to him until I think the very end. People were like looking at the screen and looking at him and looking at the screen like,
Right.
And I can't remember which movie it was for, but he said it was that atmosphere
Oh my
and
God.
everybody's reacting. It's that
just,
raw reaction to what's going on, and nobody's expecting any of this to
Yeah.
happen. And so he said it was the coolest thing to be there, like
Oh, yeah.
in the middle of it and see it for his own eyes, because
Yeah.
obviously he knows what's going on and he was in it and
It's
all
hard-
that. But it was a
it's-
cool interview to
It's
watch.
just so hard to describe. It's funny because I don't even think Star Wars can do that. I think with the most recent trilogy, I don't think they were anywhere near that.
Really.
And I think that if you were to go to a theater on opening night, which is actually one of the reasons why it was like that, it was because me and Madeline went on opening night to go see it. It was on like Thursday late evening, and I think the movie ended at like 1 a.m.
Wow.
But I don't think that even the most recent trilogy of Star Wars can replicate it just because it's not as good. So it's definitely it was a great experience.
They're good movies.
I can't wait to hopefully have it happen again because I'm looking forward to it. So yeah,
I don't blame you. So Black Widow's next.
Black Widow comes out July 9th, and that takes place between Captain America: Civil War and Infinity War.
Okay.
So that is her own individual storyline. I'm very curious to see what they do. I still think that Black Widow is dead because she dies in Endgame. But I do think that her sister that plays, I forget her name, will somehow be like the new Black Widow in the cinematic universe. But I'm curious to see how it plays out. I'm also very, very excited to see Taskmaster, which is the villain in the movie.
Okay.
Taskmaster is very, very cool because he replicates all of the fighting moves of all the Avengers. It's like he's the master of copying them. It's like he has a shield for Captain America, like his own shield for Captain America. He replicates Black Widow's fighting style. He has a bow and arrow like Hawkeye. And
Wow.
he's almost as good as all of them in all of these different areas, and it's just super cool. So
That is cool.
I'm super excited.
What's after Black Widow?
After Black Widow, I think it's Shang-Chi and the 10 rings. I know, that's right.
I don't know what that is.
I'm
not versed
It's hard.
in
It's
the
hard to describe.
universe.
I think, from what my understanding, Shang-Chi is like the master of martial arts, but like he also has like some kind of magical.
Is he a new?
Yeah, he's a new one.
Okay.
He's a new one.
Is he based on someone else or in someone else's story, or is he like
No, he's just his own thing.
completely new? Okay.
He's completely new.
Okay.
This is like introducing a new character to the MCU.
Gotcha.
But the trailer was good, and it was just like some good old fighting. Like,
Was the trailer in the previews for A Quiet Place too?
It might have been.
Okay.
I don't
Because I feel like I remember seeing something like that. But I don't know.
I think after Shang-Chi is the Eternals, which I am very interested to see what that is.
Okay.
And like Shang-Chi and the Eternals, like we're kind of getting like a little crazy here, like out
Yeah.
of like especially the Eternals. But yeah,
Are those still based on the comics?
Yeah.
Okay.
all these are based on the comics. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're doing the Loki show right now. After the Loki show, we don't know when the next show is coming out, but we have the Hawkeye show.
Mm-hmm.
We have the She-Hulk show. We have Moon Knight. There's a bunch. I don't know when they're coming out, but
Very cool.
Yeah.
It just never ends.
it never ends. Thank God.
I really thought Endgame was just done.
Endgame. Honestly, you
Nope.
could probably stop at Endgame and call it there, but
Yeah. You could. I did like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, though.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was good.
I really like that.
Funny enough, I do think Loki, from the 2 episodes I've watched out of the 6 episodes that are going to premiere, I think it's the best show.
I was just asking Madeline that, and she ranked, like, what would you rank WandaVision, Loki, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
And this is to say, all of them are great shows.
Yeah.
I'm surprised with how well they've knocked it out of the park. But I think all of them serve their own different purpose. They're all very different. I would say Loki is similar to WandaVision, but it's very different. WandaVision, I would say in my ranking, as of right now, Loki's number 1, 2 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 3 is WandaVision. But again, they're all very good shows. So, yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. I got to get you to watch all the movies.
You do. I've seen most of them, if it helps.
Well.
No?
Helps
Doesn't
a little.
help? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
After the MCU, I think I'm going to watch through, or me and Madeline are going to watch through the Spider-Man movies, because those are going to become relevant now with the new Spider-Man movie coming out.
So I have seen those.
Well, that'll help you out with No Way Home then. Because
they're going to be in it, right?
I freaking hope so. I will cry. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in that movie. Like, that is my dream for that to happen. That'd be amazing.
They are. I think they are.
They have to be. At least Tobey Maguire. I don't know about Andrew Garfield, but if Tobey Maguire is in the movie as like an old man Spider-Man from a different universe, oh my God.
Who do you think is the best Spider-Man out of all
Tom
three
Holland.
of them? Tom Holland?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up with Tobey Maguire, but he's not nearly as good as Tom Holland. Especially after watching Homecoming. Tom Holland just embodies like that's who Spider-Man is.
Wow.
Yeah, many people have said this before, and I'll say it again. Tobey Maguire is a great Peter Parker, terrible Spider-Man.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield's a terrible Peter Parker, great Spider-Man.
Tom Holland just
has them both. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Well, I think we're gonna call it quits, Kirsten.
Call it quits?
I
No.
think it's gonna be it. I think we're done.
All right.
It's midnight.
It's midnight.
Or sorry, it's noon.
What?
I wish it was midnight.
How long have we been in here?
Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 84 of 5 Boys in the Business. You can catch us on all podcast services, along with Facebook and YouTube. We will catch you next Monday, hopefully, with the rest of the people here, with my mother and father. They're hopefully here. But Kirsten, we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was an honor.
It was a good time talking about what we talked about. We talked about Marvel, parents, thirst traps, and just whenever.
This is how our conversations usually go.
True.
So
a little bit wackier, but
way wackier.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye. I have to go turn off the camera now because I go.
Okay.